Good morning. For this assignment, you will be exploring the properties of special quadrilaterals and the area of quadrilaterals and triangles. So I'm going to do these two examples. I'm going to identify this quadrilateral and find the area of this parallelogram. All right. So first, to go over the assignment, these first three questions, you're simply identifying which quadrilateral it is using the most specific name. For example, if it's a parallelogram, but if it's a certain type of parallelogram, use the more specific name. All right. So you're going to identify all three of these. Then here, you're going to list all of the quadrilaterals that have these features. Okay, so this one has two opposite congruent angles. So which quadrilaterals have opposite congruent angles? Here, this one has adjacent congruent angles. So which quadrilaterals would have adjacent congruent angles? Notice that it says not drawn to scale. So if, for example, this doesn't look like the quadrilateral that you described, you list all the quadrilaterals with two congruent consecutive sides. And there are, of course, several of them. And it's just, what could it possibly be? Suppose they drew it wrong. All they knew is that these angles are congruent, all right? So list all the possible answers here. Then the rest of it is finding the area. So first you have to identify the type of quadrilateral, then correctly apply the area formula. So sometimes it uses base length, sometimes it uses diagonals. Just make sure you know what type of quadrilateral it is so you can find the area. Same here. And here, this is giving an example of, these are windows and finding the area of the windows. So in this one, you may notice that there are two different shapes here, maybe even a triangle here that you have to find the area of, all right? So that's the assignment. So let's answer each one. So first here, A, B, C, D. What kind of quadrilateral is this? Well, all four sides are congruent. All four sides of this quadrilateral are congruent. So this is a rhombus, right? A rhombus is defined specifically as a quadrilateral with four congruent sides. Notice we can't say it's a square because it doesn't tell us if the angles are congruent or if the angles are right angles. All right, so as the most, it is a parallelogram as well then, but we simply say that it is a rhombus. We could say that too. It is incidentally then also a parallelogram, right? Because if it's a rhombus, it must be a parallelogram. Okay, speaking of parallelograms, this one is a parallelogram, this quadrilateral. Notice all four sides are the same. It's actually a rhombus. But since it's a parallelogram, we can use the parallelogram formula. Again, that it could be useful to think it that way. So the base is 16 and the height is 15, right? The area of a parallelogram equals just base times height. So in this case, the base is 16, the height is 15. You multiply that out. You could use a calculator, or how I like to solve it is, actually it'd be good to say it's a parallelogram. So we use the correct formula, parallelogram, is I think this is the same thing as 8 times 30. And I can solve 8 times 30 in my head, right? I have one, double the other. So 16 times 15, same as 8 times 30, which is 240. And since there's no units on there, we just leave that as the answer. If it was something like inches, we would say it's inches squared. But when there's no units on the problem, we don't list units in our answer. All right, that's about it. Just identifying quadrilaterals and finding the area. Mostly quadrilaterals, some triangles, and that's the assignment. So just do your best on it. Please ask if you have any questions, attend tutoring, etc. Yeah, so just do your best. I will talk to you next time. Have a good rest of your day.